Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see current affairs of 23rd May 2022. So let's get started with our discussion and let us try to see today's quote. So today's quote is given by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So this quote, which is mainly talking about empowerment of women. So he mainly says that I measure the progress of a community by the degree of progress which women have achieved. Okay, so he mainly talks about women empowerment. He mainly measures the progress of society, which is mainly based on the women empowerment. So now let us try to see first topic. It is regarding food security. So actually this article, which is mainly focusing on wheat exports of India. So recently our government, which mainly said that we are going to ban wheat exports. So regarding this, so there is one article. So we are going to discuss this article in a very great detail in all the dimensions that is important from our UPSC point of view. I am going to give you some important perspectives as an UPSC aspirant that you need to know regarding this topic. So first you need to know about wheat. So what is this wheat and which are the conditions which are favorable for the growing of wheat? Because you can't expect UPSC, you can't predict UPSC. So you might get questions regarding this basic facts of the wheat that will be important from our geography point of view as well. So apart from that, you need to know, so earlier what decision which government took like regarding exports of wheat, and why suddenly here government turned its point and it mainly banned the wheat exports. So you have to know that, and you have to see, so what are the reasons that led to the ban of wheat exports in India. So these are some important dimensions that you need to know. So now let us try to discuss this in a very great detail. So actually now let us try to understand the present context, and we will be going to back to understand this topic in a great detail. So if you say context here, Government of India which mainly announced that a sudden ban on export of wheat. So on May 13, 2022, Government of India which mainly came up with sudden ban of exports of wheat. So this is the first thing. So even a few days before this May 13, Prime Minister, he mainly stated that at the time when the world is facing shortage of wheat, the farmers of India have stepped forward to feed the world. So actually what happened across the world, so we are seeing there is decreasing of wheat. Why? Because of Russia-Ukraine conflict. So because of this Russia-Ukraine conflict, that led to decreasing of wheat production, and many countries which are dependent on this Russia and Ukraine for their wheat imports, so those countries which mainly facing food insecurity. So because of this, our Prime Minister and the Government of India which mainly gave a statement like, so in this shortage of this wheat across the world, so the farmers of India, they have stepped forward to feed the world. So even a day before export ban, that is even a day before, that means on the May 12th as well, so government officials, they were looking out for the possible export locations, indicating that there were no plans to control of wheat exports, and suddenly and very suddenly on May 13th, the Government of India came up with a ban. So if you're talking about present status of India's wheat exports, so it is the second world's largest wheat producer. And India banned exports of wheat on May 13th. So if you see here, Directorate General of Foreign Trade, that is DGFT, which mainly came up with notification, and in this notification it mainly said that we are going for ban of exports of wheat, and this ban will come into immediate efforts. So why? Because there is increasing of price of wheat. So because of this here, there is ban of exports, that is increasing of price in the domestic, that is in India. So the restrictions would not apply. So where these restrictions have not been applied, so in some cases, okay, so let us try to see where this restriction will not apply. So these restrictions will not apply in cases where prior commitments have been made. So before, whatever the commitments they had been made by the private traders through letter of credit, so in that situations here, this exception will not work. Right. So here what happened, whenever the situations where permission is granted by government to other countries to meet their food security needs, so in that area also this exception will not work. So first one is through this line of credit, whatever the commitments which already made by the private traders, and next one is government of India, especially in other countries wherever it promised to provide or to meet their food security, there it will be not applied. And if you're talking about recent order, so this recent order of ban of this wheat exports which have been decided that whatever the wheat consignments have been handed over to customs for examination and they have been registered into their system on or prior to this May 13th. And next one is, if you're talking about the port which is mainly used, that is Deen Dayal port in Kutch district. So this is the important port which is mainly used for transportation of this wheat to African countries, to Bangladesh, South Korea and as well as Yemen. So from here we are mainly transporting wheat for this African countries, Bangladesh, South Korea, Yemen, etc. And if you're talking about export countries, so these ships will be carrying wheat to Brazil, Bangladesh, Oman and as well as Indonesia. So the government will also allow a wheat shipment which mainly headed for Egypt. So already we know that before 2 months only we discussed this article regarding Indian exports of wheat to this Egypt. So Egypt also have agreed to buy 5 lakh metric tons of wheat from India. So if we are talking about export statistics of this wheat, in this current financial year, that is 2022 to 2023, so the government estimates about 45 lakh metric tons of wheat and it have been contracted for exports. And if you're talking about overall production of wheat this year, because of this heat wave like condition, because of this extreme high temperatures over the northern part of India, then what happened, it mainly led to decreasing of our production of wheat. So it is mainly expected to be lower than our earlier estimates. So because of this, it is also one cause of concern now. It is also one of the reason which led to the sudden ban of this wheat exports. So why there is demand for India's wheat? Okay, so what is the reasons that led to increasing of demand for this India's wheat? So first one is the global disruption. So because of this disruption to the global wheat supplies, because of this Russia-Ukraine crisis, so it is one of the important reason. And next one here is more countries they are turning to India because of competitive price. So price of India's wheat is less and quality is also good and available to the surplus wheat also seen here. Okay, and next one is, while existing importers they are buying more and new markets have been emerged for the Indian wheat. So because of this, that led to increasing of demand for Indian wheat in the international market. So what are the issues or the reason behind this sudden decision of government, that is banning of this wheat exports? So first one here is, so wheat prices have been rising internationally. So internationally there is increasing of price of the wheat and that led to that is because of this low supply of wheat. So whenever there is supply decreasing, whenever there is demand increasing, means the price automatically increases, right? So because of this low supply of wheat into the market and there is a high demand for the wheat, so that led to international increasing of prices. So the demand for Indian wheat has increased overseas and there is also decreasing of production from this Russia because of this Russia-Ukraine crisis. And next one is shipment stuck, which mainly happened. So our about 4,000 wheat laden trucks have been stuck in the queue outside of this Kutch part. Okay, and even 4 ships they have been half loaded with wheat and there is no order to sail. Okay, and because of this we can see there is standing of this wheat in the port, that is mainly seen. And next one is, there is a because of lower production and higher demand from this private buyers, and it is also having some impact on the PDS, public distribution system. So we have this public distribution system in India. So under this, government which is mainly trying to provide subsidized food grains for the people, and this will be helpful for ensuring of food security and even it will be helpful for maintaining of nutrition for the people, right? And next one is, government had earlier restricted wheat exports to manage overall food security situation in India. So even if you are talking about this global hunger index, India's rank is very low and India is also working very bad. Okay, so because of this here, government responsibility is to focus on food security in India. So because of all these reasons, there is sudden decision of government. So what is the way ahead? So if we're talking about way forward, so the government is optimistic about the long-term export opportunities, not only for the wheat but also for all cereals including millets and as well as superfoods. Okay, so government should be focused not only on the wheat but also even other cereals. And next one here is, so trade sources. Okay, the trade sources say if Indian wheat prices remain competitive, then what happened, that will be very much favorable for India, and there will be like a scope for good wheat exports in the future. And next one is, India also won some confidence in the international markets, for example markets in Sri Lanka and as well as Bangladesh. So there is one article in today's newspaper that, so the whatever the food aid that we are providing to Sri Lanka had reached that Sri Lankan port. So because of this, we can say like, yes, in Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, so India won the confidence of markets. And finally, we need to establish for the new markets, and government need to facilitate for the searching of these new markets internationally. So we're talking about some facts regarding this wheat. So actually this wheat, it is a main cereal crop in India. Actually it is mainly grown in the northern Indian part, and this northern Indian part which mainly has some favorable conditions for this rabi crop, that is winter rainfall, because of this western disturbances. So I think you might have studied about this western disturbances, what is this winter rainfall, etc., right? So if you don't know, so please let me know in the comment box. So if we're talking about wheat, it is a main cereal crop in India, and this wheat which made it largely like, it is a very soft, medium hard, medium protein, white bread wheat. So these is like somewhat similar when we are comparing with of this US hard white wheat. So actually what happened in US, we will be having prairies. So prairies are nothing but the granaries of food. Okay, so they will be producing large amount of the wheat in the USA. And if you are comparing with the quality of wheat of India and USA wheat, it is somewhat superior than compared to that of Indian wheat. But we can say like this quality of the wheat that is mainly produced in India, like it is having largely soft and medium hard. So somewhat it is similar to that of this US hard white wheat. So wheat which mainly grown in central and as well as western India, it is typically hard, and it is having high protein and as well as high gluten content as well. So actually it is not a kharif crop, it is like a rabi crop. So this rabi crop which is mainly sown in the month of October to December, and it will be harvested during April and June, and winter rainfall is very important for this wheat, and during the harvest season we need moderately sunshine. So if you are talking about temperature which is required for the growth of this wheat, it is like 20 to 26 degrees centigrade. And the best wheat, it is produced in the areas which are mainly favored with the cool, moist weather during the major portion of this growing period. And the rainfall is also very important. It requires about 50 to 100 centimeters of rainfall. And this wheat which is mainly grown in clay loam or loamy texture. Loamy means equal percentage or equal concentration of sand, clay and silt. And if you are talking about wheat growing states in India, so this will be very important. We have Uttar Pradesh, we have Punjab, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Bihar and Gujarat. So if you see most of the North Indian states and as well as Central Indian state, they will go for growing of this wheat. So you have to draw a map and you have to show this whenever you're writing this wheat growing areas, and try to focus on the presentation of your answers. So try to incorporate as many diagrams as possible, and you can use the flow charts as well. That will be helpful to get more marks in your mains. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding myopia prevalence. So what is this myopia? So if you see this image, so you can see one boy, he is wearing spectacles. Yes, so this myopia, it is regarding our eyes. Even I will be using spectacles, even I am also having this myopia. Okay, so if you're talking about this myopia, so what is this? So if you're talking about disease of eyes, especially we will be having sight. That means we do not have proper vision. We will be having blurred vision in this either myopia or hypermetropia. So we can see two conditions called as myopia and hypermetropia. So myopia, it is a short sightedness, and hypermetropia, it is a long sightedness. So especially in the young people who are like children, adolescents, we will be seeing myopia, and in the older people we will be seeing hypermetropia. So this article which is mainly focusing on myopia, so we will be also discussing about that. If you're from a science background, then it will be easy for me. There is no need of explaining the concept. But if you're from non-science background like maths or arts, yes, I have to try to make you understand this myopia topic. So it is not a big problem for me because I'm from a science background. So I will try my level best to make you understand this concept of myopia. So what happens? So here, why you need to read about this myopia? So actually, in the recent prelims examinations of UPSC, it is asking mainly very simple science-based questions. In 2021 prelims, you got a question regarding hot pressure cooker. So in this way, here if there is anything in news, and if WHO, that is one organization which is mainly talking about this, means yes, you can expect questions from that topic in your prelims for sure. So please don't take any chance and let us try to understand this myopia. So if you're talking about this article, it is important from your science point of view, which mainly comes in your GS paper 3. So here we are going to understand the statistics or the report data, and later on we are going to understand the basic concept of this myopia. So if you're talking about why this myopia is in news, so millions of young children, they are mainly growing up short-sightedness every year because of myopia. So because of myopia, millions of young children, they are mainly coming under this short-sightedness. So even WHO, that is World Health Organization, estimates, they said that nearly 2 billion people with myopia in 2010, that is 2010, there are about 2 billion people, okay, 2 billion people, they are having this myopia. That is about a quarter of our human population that they are mainly facing with this myopia. And by 2030, the myopia prevalence will reach to 3.3 billion people. So this is one estimate which mainly says that by 2030, here this myopia will be seen mainly in about 3.3 billion people. So we are mainly seeing there is a highest number of increasing of this myopia cases. So if we are talking about what is the risk factors for this myopia. So myopia is commonly found in children. As they grow, what happens, their anatomy of their eye will be also changing. For example, the length of the eyeball will be increasing, and because of this increasing of length of eyeball, so the power of refracting of light, that will be always in a light. So because of this, what happens, whenever the power of refraction of light is not happening properly, or whenever there is abnormalities that is mainly seen, that means whenever that image that need to be formed on retina, but if it is forming beyond retina, or if you are talking about this image which is forming earlier than the retina, means what happened, we can see there will be no proper vision, that is we can see there will be blurriness. So to correct this blurriness, we will be using spectacles, we will be using like convex lens and as well as concave lens according to our disease, like that it is myopia or it is hypermetropia. Based on that, we will be using concave and as well as convex lens. So if we are talking about myopia, it is normally and commonly seen in children because of their changing of their anatomy of their eye. For example, because of increasing of eyeball length, and the power to refract the light will be not aligned always. So because of this, that will lead to our blurred vision. So whenever we are getting blurred vision, we will be having a visit to nearby ophthalmologist, and he will be checking our eye, and he will be checking our refraction of light. So based on that, they will be giving some sight like minus 0.5. So if you are having minus, means it is myopia, okay, and if you have plus, means it is hypermetropia. So if you are talking about this myopia, so after once we have consultation with this ophthalmologist, so he will be suggesting to use spectacles, and after that we are going to the spectacle shop and we will be selecting the spectacles that will choose our face, right? So a pair of spectacles is enough to correct this mismatch, but however, whenever we are using the spectacles, it will be only addressing the symptom, okay, whenever we are using this as a spectacles. So yes, our blurred vision problem will be cleared, so we will be having a good sight. But what happened, it will be not solving the cause of this blurred vision, that is length of eyeball. So whenever this myopia, which is mainly progressing in children especially, so for example, I will be giving you example of my life itself. So actually I used to get headache in my 10th class. In my 10th class I studied very hard, and finally I got a first rank in my school. So at that time what happened, because of excessive stress I took mainly to get the class first in class. So at that time I used to get headache. So whenever I had this ophthalmologist consultation, he said that you have to use this spectacles for your headache. And after 1 year, so within 1 year, so when I entered into my +1 or +2, so my sight which mainly increased by -3 points. So I don't understand so why it happened. Okay, so what happened, so whenever we are not taking proper care, so what happened, this myopia will be progressed into high myopia. So whenever there is whenever there is a transformation of this myopia into high myopia, so we will be having some risk factors like whatever the retina which is present in our eye, so this retinal detachment will be happen, and it will be also causing the glaucoma. So glaucoma means nothing but in our eyeball, so there will be increasing of intraocular pressure. So whenever there is intraocular pressure which mainly increased, means that will leads to condition called as glaucoma, or we can say it is also called as macular degeneration. So whenever you are having glaucoma, means it will leads to permanent eyesight loss or permanent vision loss. So here if you are talking about what are the reasons or what are the factors, for example we can talk about environmental factors, we can talk about genetic factors. So genetic factors and as well as environmental factors, they determine the onset of myopia. So it is mainly believed that exposure to sunlight, and whenever we are having a healthy balance between the distance and the near work. So actually when we are using our phones, we will be saying like that, right? So what happened, and not only this, whenever we are reading books also, we should not keep our books very much near. So we should maintain a distance like at least 30 centimeters. And if you're watching television, you need to maintain a lot of distance here, right? So these are some important things that will be taught in our school, okay? But we will be not following at that time. So once when we enter into this disease like conditions, whenever we are getting this blurred vision, then only we will be start taking some precautions. So before that we will be not taking any precautions. Even when our parents, they used to say, we will be thinking like, what will happen, nothing will happen to me, I'm very healthy, like that. So we'll be not following the instructions of either teachers or either our parents. So this is the normal thing that we can see in our daily life, right? So if you're talking about environmental factors, yes, we are not exposed into sunlight so much. Yes, now our kids and we also, we will be sitting in the AC room, and in this summer season we are not going outside as well. So we are mainly not coming into the proper exposure of sunlight, and there is no healthy balance between the distance, okay, distance and as well as near work. And many children nowadays, especially in the urban environments, they are spending most of the time in indoors, they will not come outside, okay, and they will be having some near work. So for example, whenever you are looking at books, televisions, mobile phones, laptops, what happens, so we are doing work very near side, right? So because of this, what happened, there is increased risk of myopia. So not only this, and because of this COVID-19 pandemic, which mainly accelerated the trend of this using of mobile phones, laptops for online education. Not only this, earlier before this COVID-19, at least on Sundays, our children, they used to go out for the playing with their friends. But now we are not allowing our children to go out, okay, to play outdoor games, and there is led to decreasing of exposure to sunlight, okay, and that led to increasing of myopia prevalence, okay, that is mainly seen now. So if we're talking about data, it mainly says that East Asian countries, they have been particularly alarming. So even before this novel coronavirus pandemic, about 80 to 90% of high school children in the East and as well as Southeast Asian have been presenting with myopia, and nearly 20% of them, they are facing this myopia problem. So if you're talking about WHO, that is World Health Organization, which mainly talking about, it is also warning about this global myopia epidemic. So under this global myopia epidemic, millions of children, they are at risk of vision impairment. And the recent projection, which mainly says that by 2050, 50% of this world's population, they will be having this myopia. Because if you see the age of population, so we are mainly in the working age group now. So we are saying that India mainly having some advantage of this demographic dividend, that is working age people are very high. So today's students, they will be tomorrow's today's children, they will be tomorrow's citizens, and if today's children are facing this myopia, means tomorrow's citizens, they will be also having this hyper myopia or high myopia condition. So because of this, by 2050 year, India will be having 50% of population, they will be facing this myopia. If you're talking about India, okay, details regarding this India. So India seems to be bucking this trend. So current studies, they are recording low myopia prevalence among the school children when we are comparing with of East Asian countries. So in India, 1 in 30, okay, they will be having this myopia. And if you're talking about school children, 1 out of 5 school children, they are having this myopia. And recently one study which mainly surveyed about 1.2 million school children in Telangana and some parts of Andhra Pradesh, and it mainly said that there is like 85% of children, they are facing this myopia. And what is myopia? Myopia is nothing but nearsightedness or short-sightedness. So here what happens here is, whatever the light rays which are mainly entering into our eye, they are not focusing on retina properly, but they are mainly forming the image before the retina. So because of this, we will be having a blurred vision. So if you see this image, then you can easily understand that. So it is normal eye, whenever light which is mainly incidenting on the eye, so it need to form this image. So objects need to be focused on this retina here. Okay, so this orange color part is retina. So what happened in this myopia condition? So objects which mainly focus in front of retina here itself. Okay, so here itself it is mainly forming. So actually it need to form here. But it is forming before our retina. So because of this, we are mainly facing this blurred vision. So what can be done? So to correct this myopia, so we will be using this lens here. Okay, so because of this, with the help of this lens, this image which is mainly forming on retina. So this is about this topic in detail. I hope it is very much clear. And now let us try to talk about this topic, which is talking about biodiversity. Actually 22nd May, it is the International Day of Biodiversity, that is yesterday. So because of this, there is one article regarding the importance of biodiversity. Actually this in our syllabus of UPSC in paper 3, we will be having biodiversity. Okay, biodiversity and ecology. So this biodiversity is very important concept, and we will be trying to understand this. So this article says that when we are having sustainable biodiversity, and what are the challenge we are facing, so the solutions that we will get from this biodiversity itself. So now let us try to understand this topic in a very great detail. So if you're talking about why it is in news, so 22nd May is International Biodiversity Day, or International Day of Biodiversity. So on this day, on this 22nd May, so this day which mainly gives us opportunity, and we are mainly trying to appreciate the wonders of this biodiversity. Okay, so here this biodiversity is very helpful to protect all forms of life which are mainly sharing on our planet. On our planet, we will be having wide range of flora, wide range of fauna. Apart from this flora and fauna, we will be also having microorganisms, microbiome. So these all will be protected by our biodiversity. So if we are talking about our planet, that is Earth. So on Earth, we will be having different ethnic, different culture, different linguistic diversity. So this linguistic diversity, this cultural diversity and ethnic diversity, which is mainly influenced by unique feature of land. So we will be having unique features of land. Some areas we will be having mountains, some areas we will be having hills, and in some areas we will be having plains, plateaus. Some areas we will be having lakes, seas, rivers. So because of these unique features on our land, on our climate, so especially if you are talking about climate, we will be having tropical region, that is between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. We will be having temperate region, we will be having polar region. So based on this region also, we will be having different linguistic diversity, different ethnic diversity, different cultural diversity as well. Okay, and we are also having some impact because of migration, evolution as well. So here, because of these forces which are present on our planet Earth, so it mainly enriched our land with multitude of species of plants. We will be having different species of animals and as well as microorganisms. So if we're talking about what is this biodiversity, so biodiversity is nothing but the number, okay, nothing but the number and a variety of living organisms which is present in a specific geographical area. For example, it includes various plants, various animals, various microorganisms, etc. So if we're talking about human body which is having a big amount of biodiversity on skin, even inside our body, our human body, it is a host for different and wide range of microorganisms. Even in our gut, we will be having some useful bacteria that will be producing vitamin K. Okay, so in this way, what happened within the human species also, so we are having a influential component of biodiversity because our bodies, they are host for living microorganisms. Without this microorganisms, we can't even survive, right? So apart from this global pandemic, so recent heat waves, so if you're talking about challenges for this biodiversity, for example, because of this COVID-19 pandemic and because of the heat waves which are present and because of recent floods which are mainly seen in Assam and as well as Meghalaya region, so we are seeing there are some impacts because of this worsening of climate change as well, and we are seeing degradation of land, biodiversity, and also we are seeing some challenges like growing of malnutrition, hunger, poverty, inequality, environmental injustice. So these are some important challenges that we are facing now. So if we're talking about solutions for these challenges, so we can get nature-based solutions for these problems. So if you see, already we know that climate change, it is one of the most severe crises that we are facing today. We are seeing global deforestation as well. So because of this global deforestation, you can talk about Amazon forest deforestation and we can talk about Australian bushfires. So because of this events which led to the deforestation, so it is one of the main contributors for this climate change. As you all know that Amazon forest is called as the lungs, okay, lungs of our planet. So whenever there is deforestation which is happening, then what happened? Whatever the carbon dioxide which is mainly utilized by that forest, that will be released into our environment, that will lead to global warming. So because of this global warming, that will lead to climate change. So here, what can be the nature-based solutions for these challenges? So first and the foremost one here is, we need to focus on restoration of deforested lands. So here we need to go for restoration, that is afforestation. Okay, that will help to mitigate this climate change, and we can go for restoring of biodiversity in the large tracts of land. Okay, so actually this thing which is already committed by India in this Paris climate deal of 2019, and there is also direct connection between the biodiversity and as well as climate change. Okay, so here what happened in this conference of parties which mainly held in November 2021, so we also focused on what is the relationship between this biodiversity and as well as climate change, and we mainly focused that yes, we need to go for restoring of our biodiversity, that will be helpful for mitigation of this climate change. So we need to go for rejuvenation of soils in agriculture, we need to go for elimination of hunger, improvement of nutrition. So this mainly depends upon our how we are restoring our biodiversity. Okay, and even if you are talking about degraded lands, we need to go for restoration of this degraded lands. So when we are going for restoration of this degraded lands, that will helpful to enhance blue carbon, that will be having immense environmental and as well as it will be also having some economic benefits as well. So if we're talking about restoration, which will be very much helpful for creating of millions of jobs, even that will be helpful for diversification of farm systems and also agriculture based livelihood as well. So next one here is, we need to focus on strengthening of biodiversity science. Okay, so for improving of this biodiversity, Government of India, which mainly came up with launching of this national mission on biodiversity and human well-being. Okay, so it is mainly planned to come together with this public and as well as private institutions. Actually, this mission which is mainly focused on different sectors like agriculture, health, bioeconomy, bioecological services and as well as climate change, etc. And is also focusing on accessing, monitoring, restoring and as well as enhancing of biodiversity. So that will be helpful for mainly realizing or achievement of our sustainable development goals. And in this mission, public participation is very important, it is key. So this is about this topic. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding LOC. I am not at all talking about line of control which is present on India-Pakistan border. that is LOC, which is very much different. Actually this LOC which is mainly talking about some important thing regarding our economy. I'm not talking about geography and international relations here, so don't please confuse with this LOC. So this article is important from our economy point of view, which mainly important from your mains, and even you can get question regarding this LOC in your prelims. So if we're talking about LOC, it is like lookout circular. It is about lookout circular. So if you see why it is in news, on April 5th, 2022, Punjab and Haryana High Court, which mainly came with quashing of this LOC, that is lookout circular, against a petitioner. Petitioner name is Noor Paul. He mainly passed some obvious instructions to respondents, including Ministry of Home Affairs and as well as Bureau of Immigration, to serve a copy of this LOC to affected person. So now let us try to understand what is this LOC. LOC is nothing but lookout circular. So this lookout circular, which is mainly issued to make sure that individual who is absconding or wanted by legal enforcement agencies is not able to leave the country. So if there is any person who is absconding, so he is mainly default, or if this law enforcement agency want to try him and they want to stop him to leave our country, so they will go for lookout circular. So actually it is mainly used at this immigration checkpoints at international airports and seaports by immigration branch. So in certain cases, the police can approach a court and they can ask for restriction of a person's movement. So they will be asking for a person's restriction of movement. Actually, freedom of movement, it is a fundamental right. So here mainly to curtail this freedom, what happened? So we can go for issuing of this LOC. So when that person is suspect and that there is an apprehension that they may not join this investigation at any later stage. So if we're talking about who can issue, so who can issue means an authorized officer can be issuing, and this authorized officer should not be below the rank of deputy secretary. Okay, next one is also a designated officer of various law enforcing and security agencies and designated officer of Interpol. So they can also go for issuing this. And in 2018, Government of India also empowered that heads of public sector banks, especially, so there is a frauds and we can say like defaulters. For example, Nirav Modi, Vijay Mallya. So this type of frauds have been increased. Okay, willful defaulters. So mainly to stop their movement out of the country. Okay, so here Government of India also empowered this heads of this public sector banks. They can request authorities to issue this LOC against willful defaulters, such that will be helpful for preventing them from leaving the country. Okay, as of now, officer not below the rank of chairman or managing director or executive chief executive of any public sector banks, they can make the request. And LOC can be modified, deleted, withdrawn by the Bureau of Immigration only on specific request. Okay, so this is about this LOC. And now let's try to talk about one more important topic, that is regarding artificial intelligence chips. So this article is important from science and technology. So you need to know what is artificial intelligence chip, and you have to know about applications. So this application part that you can expect questions in your prelims. So please be focused on this. So now let's try to see what is this artificial intelligence chip. So this artificial intelligence chip, which is mainly built with specific architecture. So we are using some specific architecture and they have some integrated artificial intelligence acceleration. So in this way, it will be helpful for especially deep learning based applications. So deep learning, which is commonly called as like active neural network, or we can talk about deep neural network. Active neural network or deep neural network, it is nothing but deep learning. So actually this deep learning, it is one of the subset of this machine learning. Okay, it mainly comes under the broad umbrella of artificial intelligence. So we will be having artificial intelligence. So under this we will be having machine learning. Under this we will be having deep learning. So this deep learning is also called as ANN or DNA, that is active neural network, and next one is a deep neural network. So actually this artificial intelligence chips which mainly combines series of computer commands and as well as algorithms that simultaneously and actively, okay, and they will be having some brain-like structure. So here in this deep neural network, it is mainly go through training phase, learning new capabilities from existing data, and they can interfere and they can apply capabilities as well. So this deep learning can make the process of collecting, analyzing, interpreting the data, and that will be happens within fraction of seconds. That is very faster and as well as very easier as well. So these chips with their hardware technology architectures, they will be having some complementary packages, memory, storage, and they will be having ability to interconnect the technologies as well. So if we are talking about different types of artificial intelligence chips, we will be having like application specific integrated circuits, we will be having field program grade arrays, central processing units, and as well as GPUs. So they are mainly having wide range of artificial intelligence regarding applications. So if we are focusing on applications, they will be helpful especially for smart machines and smart devices. So here they will be helpful for deliver the performance of data center, class computer, edge devices, and some of these chips will also support in vehicle computers, okay, to run the state of art artificial intelligence applications. And all chips are also powering applications to computational images like wearable electronics. Okay, we will be having smart Apple phones. So actually I saw one news in Singapore that one person who is wearing a smart Apple watch, when he met with an accident, and after once he met with an accident, so this watch which mainly identify the heartbeat of that person, and that watch which mainly send some signals to the ambulance and as well as the nearby person, that is to his lover, that the heartbeat which is mainly decreasing and he is in emergency. And what happened within some minutes of time, what happened, the ambulance which came to that location and he was saved. So in this way, in this wearable electronics also we can use this artificial intelligence chips. And next one is, there are chip makers who have been built this artificial intelligence processors with on-chip hardware acceleration. So because of this, can be also used for analysis of data in banking, finances, trading, insurance companies as well. So this will be the applications. And now let us try to see last article of the day, that is center bearing full duty cut burden. So this is the thing which mainly said by our finance minister. So in yesterday's article we studied that Central came up with decreasing of excise duty on this petrol and as well as diesel. So because of this decreasing of excise duty, that will lead to decreasing of overall price of this petrol and diesel, right? So this is a good news because it will be helpful for the controlling of inflation. So now let us try to see what is this article talking about. So this article is important from your GS paper 3 under economy. So now let us try to see context first. So if you see context, it mainly says that our union finance minister, that is Nirmala Sitharaman, she said that whatever the entire duty reduction in petrol and as well as diesel, which mainly announced, had been done out of this road and infrastructure cess. Okay, so they are not going to have this road and infrastructure cess component on the taxes which mainly levied on this petroleum products. And what are the entire burden of this tax cuts that will be being borne by center. So now let us try to understand this map here. So if you see this map, which is mainly talking about how much tax do you pay for rupees 100 of petrol. So if you are mainly buying 100 rupees of petrol, so how much amount of tax you are paying. So that is the thing which is mainly represented here, and you can see which state you are belonging to. So here highest amount is seen in Maharashtra, and second one is Andhra Pradesh, and third one is here Telangana state. So in these three states there is high amount of taxes which is imposed on this petrol and diesel, and ours is Telangana state. So it is about 51.6 rupees of tax we are paying here, and you have to see the state, and the lowest which is mainly seen in this Meghalaya with 42.5 rupees, and next one is Arunachal Pradesh, it is 42.9 rupees. So you have to understand why there is a different price of fuel that is mainly seen. So if you are comparing with our state, for example, let us take you are in, for example, for example, you are in Gujarat, and you are having the states which are boundary here is Rajasthan here, Madhya Pradesh here, and Maharashtra here. So if you are mainly using any truck to go for transport of anything, means if you are starting from Gujarat and if you want to deliver your goods in Maharashtra, suddenly petrol which that is diesel which mainly completed in your vehicle, if you want to go for fueling, okay, loading of your truck with this fuel, so in Maharashtra it will be taking very much cost and compared to that of your Gujarat. Okay, so what happened because of this varying of prices of petrol and diesel within the different states in India? So what happened, there is also the smuggling which is also seen. Okay, So what happens? So what are the different reasons behind the different prices of petrol and diesel in the states? For example, you have to talk about this TPP. So this TPP is mainly talking about trade parity price. So first important reason here is trade parity price, and second important one here is because of excise duty which mainly charged by central government on this petrol and diesel. And the third one is we need to talk about VAT, that is value added tax. So this VAT will be imposed by state government. And next one is dealer commission to gas stations. So these are the 4 or 5 important reasons that led to the various prices in the different states. Okay. So here if you're talking about fuel pricing mechanism in India, so petrol prices were deregulated in 2010 itself, and diesel prices are deregulated in 2014. And now here oil marketing companies, that is OMCs, for example you can talk about Indian Oil, HPCL, BPCL, and they are mainly responsible. So prices are not determined by the actual cost which mainly incurred by this oil marketing companies such as Indian Oil, HPCL, BPCL, but it is mainly focusing on this TPP, that is trade parity form price. So what is trade parity price? It is mainly based on the calculation that 80% of our petrol and diesel that we are imported to India and 20% it is exported. So here petrol and diesel price in India, they are mainly determined on the price of these fuels in international market, but we are not focusing on the crude oil prices. Okay, from June 2017 here the pricing of petrol and diesel, it is mainly done through a daily pricing mechanism. Okay, it is mainly done through a daily pricing mechanism. If you are talking about excise duty component, okay, so what is this excise duty? So excise duty which is mainly levied on petrol and as well as diesel, which mainly consists of 2 broad components. So first one is tax component, second one is cess and surcharge. So if you are talking about this tax component, it's nothing but we can say it is as a basic excise duty. Okay, so what happens? So what are the tax component which is imposed by the center? Okay, center. So that tax component will be shared with the states. But if you are talking about cess and surcharge, it will be not shared with the states. So here this tax component and cess and surcharge, they are the 2 components of this excise duty. So these are the 2 important things that you have to remember to understand the today's article. Okay, so if we are talking about this cess, we will be having agriculture infrastructure and development cess, and as well as road and infrastructure cess, they will be imposed. So if you are talking about this article which mainly says that, so because of this cut of this excise duty, so whatever the tax component that will be shared with the states will be decreased. Okay, so this is a thing which mainly said by our Union Finance Minister. So these are the some important articles that appear in the today's newspaper. And now let's try to see yesterday's questions and answers. So I am running out of time. I already reached the target of 45 minutes. So I will be taking just 5 minutes extra time so that I will be covering today's questions, and as well as I will be showing just important articles. I will be not giving much explanation. So please try to refer those articles in the newspaper. So first question is regarding removal of vice president. So first one here is whenever there is a resolution of removal of vice president is under consideration. So vice president can, first one is he can preside over upper house, that is Rajya Sabha, not at all. And next one is he can present in the house and take part in the discussion proceeding, yes. And he can vote in the first instance, he cannot vote. So that option will be 2 only. And next one is rules of Lok Sabha. Under the rules of Lok Sabha, there is mention on leader of house. Consider the following statements regarding leader of house with respect to Lok Sabha. Only Prime Minister can be the leader of house in Lok Sabha, and he is the head of the Council of Ministers, yes. And the member of Lok Sabha who is not a minister nominated by the Prime Minister, yes. And this one is a minister nominated from either of the house nominated by Prime Minister, yes. And the same functionary in the USA as majority leader, he is not at all. So correct option will be 1, 2 and 3 only. And today's questions are, the first one is regarding pro tem speaker, and second question is regarding national emergency. So try to read these options and give me the correct option in the comment box. So these are the easiest questions I give today. So please try to give the answers, and I am expecting the good response for these questions in the today's comment box. So now let us try to see the today's PDF. So before that, I want to make a small announcement. So we came up with this foundational course for this 2023 and 2024 through this pen drive course. So this is very useful and absolutely very beneficial for the students who are preparing for the first time, that is for the beginners and also for the students who already gave their attempts. So here we are mainly focusing on the concepts. So conceptual clarity is very important, and we are providing like more than 600 hours of video classes. So this will be absolutely beneficial, and you can take these classes. And if you want to watch the demo videos, you can visit our website rathodscienceacademy.com, and there you can watch 3 demo videos in each and every module. So after watching these videos only, you can go for purchasing of these courses. And if you have any queries, you can call me on this number 8074765513. And if you want to take individual courses, you can take individual courses like only history, economy, ethics, international relations, science and technology, environment and ecology as well. So now let us try to see today's Hindu newspaper PDF. So without any delay, let us see the headlines. So first topic I discussed regarding this fuel duty. And if you move, so please leave the city page and as a states page today. So there is nothing much important in this today's newspaper. And directly we need to go to our editorial page. So in this editorial page, I discussed regarding this wheat exports, and this article is regarding this wheat exports itself. You can read this article. So if you see this article, it is more than enough. There is no need of reading this also. And here you can see this article, it is regarding myopia I discussed. Actually this article, it is mainly talking about women, okay, Indian girls who are entering into this boxing. So actually Telangana girl, that is Nikhat, so she won recently gold, okay. So because of this is a news, and you can use this article as a case study regarding women empowerment. And next article, it is regarding Iran's regional centrality. So here you need to think about so how this Iran, which is important for India, and you have to know about areas of cooperation regarding India and Iran. So actually this article is important because the author here is Hamid Ansari, who is former Vice President of India. And next article, it is regarding IBC resolution process. So it is also very important, and you can go through this article. And this text and context, I discussed regarding this LOCs, and I discussed regarding this artificial intelligence chips. And if you move on to this news page, there is one article regarding our PM is going to attend Tokyo's launch of US trade initiatives. So this is also very important. And there is one more article regarding this, that is US doesn't single out India. So this is a thing which mainly said by NSA, that is American National Security Advisor. And next topic is regarding India to spend about $26 billion to curb inflation. So actually we are seeing there is a high range of inflation that is seen in the month of April in the both CPI and as well as WPI. So because of this, now Indian government is considering the spending of additional $2 trillion, that is $26 billion in 2022 to 2023 fiscal year to cushion this consumers from rising prices and to fight multi-year high inflation. So we need to see in which areas it is going to be spent. And this one is infrastructure projects to be routed through this NPG. So this article is mainly talking about PM Gati Shakti. So you need to know what are the 5 principles of this PM Gati Shakti I discussed in the budget. And here this article says that through this NPG, that is a network of planning group. So all logistic connectivity infrastructure projects, they need to focus on investment over rupees 500 crores that would now route through this network planning group. So it is mainly considered under this PM Gati Shakti. Okay, so this is the initiative of Finance Ministry. So here you need to know about what is this PM Gati Shakti and what are the principles of this PM Gati Shakti. And if you move further, here in this 12th page, you can see one article regarding this World Economic Forum meet, and you have to know about some facts regarding this World Economic Forum and which are the reports will be released by this World Economic Forum, because every year you can see one report in the prelims for sure. And this one is in this week we are expecting this, there will be a quad meet. So once this meeting is done, we are going to see articles regarding that topic. And these are some important articles that appear in the today's Hindu newspaper. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to this Rathod's IAS Academy and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. Thank you so much.